What in the world would a crocodile starter be doing in Kalos? What connections are there? We saw starters revealed in the latest Pokemon Presents for the upcoming game Pokemon Legends ZA, and it's time to speculate on what the final evolution might be, if it's maybe a Mega, or if it's keeping up with the previous Legends game and going with a different form altogether. That's the one we're going to be looking at, and I have my prediction of Feraligatr in the ring. We're going to do a history lesson, and by the end of the video, this goofy looking alligator might be making a whole lot more sense. So buckle in, let's get into it. So I think one of the big connections between a crocodile and France might be like the sewers. The whole stories about crocodiles in the sewer sort of thing. We actually do have a case of that in France, and it's a well-known one. Go ahead, feast your eyes on this croc. There was a Nile crocodile that once was found in the Paris sewers. You might think, oh, crocs in the sewers might be an old thing. This one's not that old. This happened in like 1984. It was truly an urban legend turned real, and it's one example on what could potentially be the ideas for a Feraligatr in a different form. At least that was my first thought, and I think it's very easy to come up with ideas of like, oh, Feraligatr being like water poison type, and it's this sewage croc who is like dishing out poison everywhere, or something like that, or maybe even a dark type, something along those lines. That is a pretty decent idea, but I kind of wanted to keep digging for a different one, because that one did seem pretty simple on the surface, of just going towards poison with that, oh, it's in the sewers. I went ahead and tried to look more into what crocodiles might have ties with in France, and what came up was about the city of Nîmes. I had not known this before, but there is a city in France called Nîmes, and it hosts a plethora of crocodile-themed things, but specifically a croc with a chain around its neck attached to a palm tree. This has some really deep roots. As one individual wrote about, they were also confused about all the crocodile palm tree imagery going around in this one little space, a bit too much for it to be a coincidence. I squinted and could just make out a crocodile and a palm tree on the sign directing us to Nîmes city centre. I scratched my head. How bizarre was that? Walking around Nîmes, this historic pedestrian precinct, the same crocodile and palm tree symbol was everywhere. The logo was impossible to miss, as bollards and large brass plaques embedded on the streets, a shining relief in the floor of the city markets, and as a full-sized bronze crocodile in an exotic fountain in the Place du Marché. Most bizarre were 4 stuffed crocodiles, roughly stitched down their bellies, hanging in a town hall stairwell. Gifted by local Berg, I've never seen that word in my life, in 18th century, these gruesome beasts confirmed that the crocodile at least has been around a while. Now, what they're talking about is definitely true. We can see this imagery kind of all over, on coins and stuff from way back when. But apparently, this ties back to Egypt. Way back in history, Roman General Octavius defeated Antony and Cleopatra to conquer Egypt and became Emperor Caesar Augustus, and as a reward to his legionnaires for their many years of service and this victorious campaign, Augustus granted them lands in the new Roman colony of Nemosus, which became modern Nîmes. So this was put onto coins and things, and it displayed a crocodile chained to a palm tree to symbolize the conquest of Egypt. Artifacts featuring that coin system where it had that crocodile with the palm tree and the chain in various like positions and stuff, and I guess it became a sort of coat of arms for the city. The king ordered the people of Nîmes to use the crocodile, then confused with a snake or a salamander chained to a palm tree as their coat of arms. Look at all this crocodile stuff. Oh, here's the crocodile in the city. We got the big bronze croc, it looks like. Place du Marché in the fountain. This one is free of his chains. That's good. We have here in the garden, there's crocodiles. We have crocodile artwork. And here's the stuffed crocodiles that we heard about before. This image sends me. I can't get over this image. It's so ridiculous. This is, I guess, in the Hotel de Ville. This is crazy. I am like blown away by that. But you can see how much crazy imagery is going on and going into this. There's so much to it, it looks like. And so, of course, when designing this Feraligatr design, I was very eager to like maybe give the first draft to the roots, to have the crocodile with the palm tree motif. And so, what does it end up looking like? Another influence into the design. So with all that in mind, I'm sure you can tell why there is this motif going on with kind of the palm trees. So there's like palm trees on this big plant on its head, kind of like a crown, and then at the tip of the tail, it's got palm trees. I also wanted the Feraligatr design to look more Nile crocodile-like almost, or change it up a little bit. I really wanted him to be really long, so he's got like a really long tail, and his snout is a lot longer as well. I really like that. And as you can see from the colors, it's kind of like initially kind of playing off its shiny coloring with that bluish green hue, but then incorporating other just greenery to go into this grass water type thing. It's also covered in like some moss and stuff. The moss and such being, you know, more of the grass type, more of the being submerged in things and finding water and stuff. I also wanted to kind of make it like a poodle, how, you know, sometimes the poodles have those weird patches of fur kind of on it still. That's kind of what I thought about, but in the end, it kind of just looks a little funky. And then the big moss around the neck. I wanted to obviously not put like a big chain or something, but I was thinking along the lines of like, it can be somewhat mossy, and it can also be a nod to like how the French aristocrats and like other aristocrats adored those big collar things that always look really fun, and that could be a nod to that. And then atop its head, of course, is like this palm tree crown thing, and I want to include that because France, of course, has its history with royalty, and, you know, a lot of old nations do, but France definitely has a lot of royalty history, and that is something that people think about when they think of, you know, old France. And even during this, all this, like, when the crocodile thing was going on, when this coat of arms was being chosen almost, we have king's influence, stuff like that, I guess. We have that. And then, of course, the moss. There's like a moss ball inside as well that is just adding to the crown design. Now, I also didn't pick the crown and king motif simply on France's history. It's also tied into Feraligatr's name itself. In Japanese, it's Ordile, more like, you know, Oridairu or something maybe, but Oridile is including the kanji and the words for king within its name, for emperor, for big, and then of course crocodile. The big and the crocodile part are very predictable. It is a big gator, but I did not quite realize that the king and emperor was within its own name. It's also like that in some of the other languages as well, but this one, Feraligatr's design doesn't quite scream king or emperor included in it, I would say. And so that was kind of a surprise. And so I wanted to make it much more prominent here, just because we are now dealing with, hey, let's say Kalosian history, kings, queens, all that. It's much more prominent. I also wanted to maybe shift around its ferocious disposition to make it more playful even. With this look to it and stuff, it looks kind of goofy, kind of funny, and, you know, I can imagine this thing swinging around its big tail or trying to have a good time, let's say, maybe, rather than the ferocious Johto gator that we usually see. As for colors, kind of, like I said, went with some lighter colors, some brighter ones that are cheery and stuff, and ultimately decided upon something that is quite green and yellow, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it, and I hope to do this with the other starters as well, and I would love to hear your ideas and thoughts as well, and maybe incorporate them into a design too. I had a lot of fun doing this one. Like I said, this is just my first idea that I wanted to make a water grass guy with it and go into the roots of Nîmes and go into the roots of, you know, some French history that has a crocodile emblem and a big history with this symbolism, and I kind of wanted to do something based on that. I think that it'll be really exciting to see if we get new forms at the end of the evolution for these guys. I think Mega Evolution is also really cool as an idea, but for now, this is what we have. Maybe we can do Mega's form later, but yeah, thank you so much for sticking around. You might hear my cat. Buddy! Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to definitely subscribe to the channel. It really helps with the algorithm and everything, and you will be able to stay in tune for future videos. We also go over the Pokemon TCG sometimes, but now that there is our game coming, we can do more Legends ZA stuff as well. But thanks so much. There's also links below to like Patreon if you want to help support the channel and things. But even just leaving a like and comment is phenomenal as well. So thank you so much for that. I love hearing from people, and thank you. Yeah. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.